Welcome back to another signature on the album that we're working with from the Stamperia collection, Vintage Library. There, had to remember what I was playing with. Okay, so this is the next signature, and what I've done is I've taken the one 8x8 that has the blue door, and it sits in the library. And what I wanted to do with that door was lift it up off the page so there's a little bit of depth to this. So I backed it on, cut it out, backed it on some blue cardstock. I put some pop-ups on the back, and it's just going to drop right back in where I cut it out at. And then I took and fussy cut out the owl, and there's a book over here in this setting. And I am going to put the owl right there. So there's another element to the front of this signature. Then when you turn this, and excuse me, I've got to grab this over here. We're going to have another page that's going to open up. So you're going to have two big panels. And on the inside here, I'm using this 8x8 sheet. It has a broader, this piece here is about another inch wide. And then I have this piece that I elected to use. And then from the fussy cut, I think you remember me playing with this in one of the other previous signatures. So what I've done is I've cut it out, and on this I have mounted it against white cardstock because I think its appearance looks so much better here against this beautiful arrangement of browns. And then in the scraps, I found this piece, and it's from being cut off of the front of a previous piece, and it's got poems and musics, a couple of buildings. And so if you have this scrap, it would be a wonderful addition to this page, and that's what I've done here. And I'm going to run tape across the bottom and along this. In fact, let's do that right now. I wanted to run it along the edge because it's rather tall and I didn't want it to buckle. And then this way there is a nice tuck. And I'm hiding this element. There's not much you can do with it. So I'm actually going to do this to kind of hide that element. Now, the reverse of this, I use this piece, and I'm really not going to do anything with it. I think it's going to make for great background for a couple of photos, so I'm leaving that as it is. And then here in the center, which is our centerpiece, I've used this piece, and it is cut at 7 1/4 across, and it's 7 3/4 in height. So this is your base. The reverse side was the background selection Vintage Library. And then I cut from a music sheet this left side panel. And I'm going to make a pocket out of it. And it's going to go over here. And then this tall bookmark with all the books stacked up there is going to come in here as an element. And then I'm going to use this beautiful ribbon that I have to finish the accent. And that's what I have. Now I've got to erase this because I kind of forget sometimes what direction my ups and downs are. So this is where we're at. Everything is inked. It's ready to go. So let's get with some measurements here. So I've already given you this measurement. My pocket, the cardstock is 2.5 inches, obviously by the 7 3/4 in the height. So I am going to go ahead and put this on. And realizing that you guys can always pause your videos so that you can get all of your cuts and your trims ready, and then join back in and play along with me. So I'm going to glue this. It's already been inked. It just amazes me, the designers that Stamperia has and what they can come up with. They make some beautiful paper. And then we'll glue this in place. And you can use any bookmark that you want to use. It's entirely up to you. And then now if you don't have to use any ribbon, but if you are, just so that you know, because this is got tape that covers the vast majority of it, it's only the scalloped edge that I am leaving hanging over. The taped edge I'm making sure is up against the paper. Okay. Easier to burnish that tape on from the underside. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get this piece on. So obviously the height remains the same. The width on this is 7.5, and you're going to score it at 1/2, and then you're going to score it at 5/8. We're going to create a bit of a gusset because we're already going to start filling on the inside of this. Now I am going to turn it over this time because I can lay this flat. It's coming right against the 1/2-inch gusset. Oh, what's it doing here? I don't know why I am struggling here. This paper that I'm using was not the easiest to score. And I want to push back on the gusset that I'm creating so I can rescore it. All right. Put those up there because I want to keep them together. And then we're going to take this piece, I'm going to put those there to keep them together. And then this piece is going to measure 7 inches across with a 1/2-inch score. And this is going to mount from the inside. So we'll go ahead and take the tape off. Excuse me. Put it down in place. Come in here and give it a good burnish. All right, so I'm going to start with this panel. We're going to glue this in here. I've got to get a drink of water, excuse me. All right. So making sure that this comes to the 5/8 of an inch gusset mark, and then that it stays off this 1/2-inch gusset mark. We're going to go ahead and you can either tape it or glue it in. Oh, and by the way, it's backside to the door that we're going to play with here. Okay. And then let's take this tape off and let's go ahead and get this little accent down here in this corner. 1/4 of an inch in, 1/4 of an inch up, and down it goes. So there is a nice, beautiful tuck. Okay, snugs up down here, but that's fine. I used 3/8 of an inch down here instead of a 1/4 inch. That's why it cuts up short, but it works fine. Now here, this panel, I'm using this lovely sculptured brown piece. Looks like it might be on the back of one of those fancy, elegant journals that were back in the day. Okay. Stay off that gusset line. Come in and lay it down. Now, before I go any farther, I want to put a magnet right here. Oh, excuse me. This was stuck to the base. I need to make sure that I'm still in frame. I'm fine. Whew. These magnets are something else. I want to put it here. I'm going to taper in place. I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to come to the back side. Let it find its mate, taper in place. Okay, now I feel comfortable adding this piece. But I'm going to be taping this side in because of the magnet. Oh, I know what I forgot. I got kind of ahead of myself. Taking my little fussy cut buildings, put a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch tape across the bottom. And now we have a nice little tuck. And with that, you still have plenty of room up here to attach a photo. Now we can tape this in. You know, if you don't have ribbon, but you have cardstock that you think would work well, you could always punch or die cut a beautiful lace embellishment to go over those long pockets. I have tape here, so I'm taping this side that sits here. Oh, that just attached to the lamp. My goodness. So take this off. And I'm going to snug. Oh, I need to take this off. I just saw that I have some tape hanging off the edge, and it's just so much easier if I just use my finger to roll it over. Trying to cut it or trim it is just not worth the effort. Okay, let's get this back down here. And now we'll take the rest of the tape off. All right, now it's a beautiful background for putting photos. Okay, so now we're going to play with the front. So like I said, I cut this out. I've already inked around the edges, at least I think I have. And I cut this out. I've mounted on some blue cardstock. I could have done white. It would have shown up a little bit more, but it's fine. And then Fussy cut out that owl so he can just kind of come over here and sit right on top of this book. Okay, give you some time to get that done, and then you can come back, join us, and put this signature together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue all the way around this cutout frame because I really want this to stay down against the cardstock. I don't want it popping up. And then we'll go ahead and get the rest of this glued. All right. Set it here in the corner. Oh, it's gonna stick in it. There we go. Whew. And I'm going to go ahead and add the owl right now. Just setting him so his claws look like they're draping over that book. And then I'm going to come off frame and take all the backs off of these foam squares. So give me just a little bit to get them off. Otherwise, they're all over my desktop and all over the floor, and I'm actually putting them in the basket, the garbage basket. Okay, we're going to put it right back in place and give her a nice little burnish. So there is that signature. So you open it. Great place for photos. Beautiful spot for photos over here, or a dark pen and do some journaling here. But then you have a nice big deep pocket. And then in here we have a couple of really nice tucks. You still have room to put photos in here. It does make for a nice place for that. So let's go ahead and when you're ready, let's get our at least 1/2-inch tape around the entire back side of the framework. So now let's grab some 3/8, and I'm going to run one long strip here, and I'm going to be satisfied with that right there as the second support. Let's grab our book, and again you can see where I've put my gauge, if you will, for mounting these in, how far towards the spine I want to allow myself to go. And if you can see this, I have plenty of room, but it gives wonderful room for this gusset to fold into it and not get jarred up in that big spine. So let's go ahead and take off some of this tape. I'm only going to take the 2 center ones off. until I get it placed. And I'm coming right up to the edge and making sure that this is put in level. Let's go ahead and get this tape off of here. I'm going to be mindful of my gusset, make sure it's standing up straight before I commit. I wonder where that white flag came from. And then we'll get up underneath here. Oh, come here. And we'll take the rest of the tape off. I don't want to snag this before it gets too tight to grab the tape. There we go. All right, there we go. I'll see you back here for the next signature. Bye-bye.